Welcome to The Core of It, a podcast by Core Project Advisory, where we talk about the tools, approaches and insights for successful project delivery. I'm Sonya Hargreaves, Project Manager and Document Control Manager from Core Project Advisory.
I'm Amy Griffiths. I'm a Senior Document Controller and Project Administrator.
Today, we are going to talk about training.
Training.
Yes, where do we start? So I think from a document control perspective, training not only just in like day-to-day document control. So, you know, when we have a new starter join our team, for instance, so we have a group of document controllers and we have our own procedures and protocols on how we do our job, right, internally at Core Project Advisory.
Yeah.
So, you know, day one as a document controller, it looks a bit like, okay, what are you going to do every day? Because I think, you know, in our previous podcast about what is a doc controller, a lot of people don't know. And if we're getting juniors involved, you know, for the first time, they're very, I guess, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and don't know what might be in store. So I think some of the initial training components of what we like to instill in document controllers is just some of those really fundamental, basic tools, which are, you know, revision control and, you know, how to manage document naming and numbering conventions, because it's a good tool to have to know how that is done and how to sort of inform that decision as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot to get into with document numbering, because every document number means something different, and every single number in an actual drawing number has a reason that it's there generally. So a lot of the time with training document control staff, dependent on the jobs we have, is I'll start with client procedures and client numbering procedures and things like that to just run through and sort of explain. But I think you're always learning. Always. So
sometimes you don't always get it right either.
Exactly. Yeah. So looking into client systems with training, I will quite often be able to deliver training for actual client side specifically, and we just have the client team, and it might be on their archiving process, anything that they want me to train their team in. I will create training slides, PowerPoints. I'll float everything past the client first for approval. Like, would you like me to create a PowerPoint for the training presentation? Do you want me to do a descriptive run through of the system and little video content and things like that? So we basically gather the information to what's best going to suit the project, and that can be offered just to client side team members. Generally, as a document controller, we will train contractors coming on board into the data management system. That's always a given. So I think our team at Core Project Advisory, we have a base platform of training that we generally alter specific to the company we're working with or project we're working on. So there's a lot of aspects, but it's getting the right information out there and what do they want their training in.
And I think like when you have contractors or other team members coming onto a project or even joining us, you got to be careful not to over, you know, brain load people. So, you know, quite often, especially if we're doing a collaborative system or something, we might sort of just go, here's the intro and like, here's how you do general navigation and here's how you know, maybe raise a request or something and here's how you search for things. And then training session in a week or two later might be more about, okay, now this is how you know, create a form or create a really involved request. Or, you know what I mean, something a little bit more media. And I think quite often people appreciate that if it's broken down, because then they're not too overwhelmed.
Yeah. I find it's great to train people now over the different online platforms that you can use. Video conferencing, it's fantastic. You can have people from all over. You can obviously record your meeting for those that can't make the training. There's just so many different options now of running your training session. Back from when I first started in document control, we would sit around a round table and I would have a big projector up and even a long pointer stick and go through, this is where we do it. And it took a lot longer to create, you know, what you were using. How do you feel with a lot of the system platforms and the training? Because every system, I feel, has its own training online. and they say, here you go, here's everything you need to know, just jump in and do it yourself. How do you feel people
I
handle that?
think some of them are a lot more efficient than they used to be. And I think, even with basic scenarios, they'll have, you need to answer all these quizzes.
Oh, yes.
Before you can move to the next module, which I know some people
just go straight to the next module.
Yeah. But that's important because I feel like it gives people a chance in their own kind of time to have a look through. And then when you sit, we always offer that kind of training via, electronic methods or in person, because I still think that
at least
it is still convenient to be able to just walk over to somebody or team somebody or call somebody to say, hey, I really have this burning question. I know I should know how to do this task, but I really need your help. And I think that will never be removed with online content. I think it's still really valuable to have online content and quizzes and videos and all the things, and have them available for people. But I think, that personal touch is still...
I agree. I think both options are really good because you get the people like me. I'm one of them that likes to ask the stupid questions. And so sometimes if I'm doing a training, I'll happily ask the stupid questions because I know someone else will be sitting there thinking it as well. That's what I tell myself. But anyway... But then also it gives you that opportunity that if you are a bit shy and you don't want to put your hand up and ask them questions, then you think, I can check out the online platform and really search what I'm actually wanting to know there. So they definitely have a purpose, I think.
Yeah.
Both ways. But I do think in this day and age, with everything being remote, yes, it's fantastic. We have the great ways to all be together in a meeting and do a training session. But I personally miss being able to tap someone on the shoulder in the office and say, hey, what's your process on this again? Or, sometimes you wouldn't even pick up the phone now to ask those same questions that you would ask if you were in an office. Yeah. So that dynamic of everything, I think, has changed a lot more. But you can literally pick up the phone and screen share and run through stuff with people now. But it's just, I think, giving people that the confidence. Pick the phone up, call me, ring me up. Let's have a quick chat about it. Let's run through it. So there's so many different aspects of training.
And definitely I've found over the years with COVID and everything, even though our business was a work from home, really good mix of in-office, work from home and at clients' offices as well. But I think, the younger generations are missing out on some of that. You'd roll over on your rolly chair to someone else and go, help me with this Excel problem. I can't figure out this calculation or whatever. And that still can be done, like you say, connecting to somebody virtually, but you kind of go, maybe I'll just figure it out myself. So there's definitely that element that I think, people should still keep, in their forefront because it's still really valuable for people to connect through training.
Exactly.
And sharing experiences.
And I was thinking about that the other day, actually. I was thinking, I know we have people in our team that are like phenomenal users of Excel, and if they were in an office with me, they would not want to be on the same floor that I'd be on because I'd be like, hey, how do I do this? Hey, can you show me that? But I think a really cool thing, and it's very controversial, but AI has come into that range. And so now sometimes instead of having to go to somebody, you can jump on AI and you can get formulas and things like that. But that's a whole different dynamic again because you're not then technically learning something. You're learning how to do it in the moment. But I don't think it's really getting plugged in to now you can do that process every time you need to.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a different experience.
Yeah.
And I think too when, if ever I deliver training, which isn't that often anymore, but when you're in the moment and you're doing something and people are in the room with you or virtually in the room with you and you're going, click here, drag this down, do this or this, but then something is a problem.
Oh, so
I've been coming across, like if something doesn't work, right?
Yeah, and it's always going to not work when you've got a room.
When you've got a room full of people watching, of course. But I think that's really crucial because I like to know how you can break stuff as well, because that's also a really good way to learn systems and structures. And like I said, you don't always get it right ever, but it's always good to be able to fix it as well and then go, I do know how to fix this, whereas sometimes I think, if you don't know how things can break,
yourself, I better be able to fix this within 30 seconds or I'm going to lose the room. How do you like to do training? What's your favourite way to train?
I love in person. Yeah. I'm still a big fan of in person. I mean, you've been to some of our little sessions internally, and I think there's just still a lot of value in public speaking as well and being able to sort of stand up in front of a group, but I have done virtual training with an on-screen recording with just my voice in the background, my soothing voice, apparently. Not.
So have you been in the training, or it's like you just hit play and you're talking?
Yeah, just hit play and I'm voicing over how to do something in a
part of one of those
system a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's still up and running at that place,
Well, there you
to
go.
my knowledge. So
I'm gonna have to Google you.
yeah, but no, I think I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can do it, but it's still really crucial to have it, have something in place. Yeah.
I really enjoy doing. Well, it is funny, but I do enjoy doing. I do a lot of little half-hour training sessions on our document management system for new starters, refreshers for team members, but it's generally multiple team members. So it'll be client, contractor, quality, contracts admin. There might be all sorts of different people involved. And generally I have a PowerPoint where I'll run through the slides, but I'm one person that will sit there with my PowerPoint up. I never read anything that's on the PowerPoint. I always go off topic. I always just explain it. I keep everything really like as if somebody's never ever worked in the profession, I guess, that they're sitting there in. So it's a very broad training session to cover, anybody that's never had anything to do with it could sit there and go, oh, okay, so that's how you use the system. But I think I like to do that base training session, and I always tell people that as soon as you actually get into the system and start using it, and you're going to hit a roadblock and you think, well, what did she say or whatever. So then I like the pinpoint of you can jump online, there's 2-minute videos that you can follow yourself, or you can call me and I'll do a one-on-one. I think when you do those little one-on-one sessions, they're so valuable. And I'm always to put my hand up for the one-on-ones to help them specifically with what they're actually using it for. Because, people are always going to use a system for different things. So I think if you're just doing one session to cover everything, people are going to be saying, oh, but what if I need to do this and what if I need to do that? So, yeah, that's the way that I like it. I've done a few in person, but, yeah, it's a challenge. It's not for everybody.
I mean, I've delivered in the past some massive training sessions with rooms of lots of people, and that can be a bit intimidating, especially if you're getting questions from people that you may not know the answer to.
Yeah.
But, it's still...
What's your process? Do you try and learn it off, or do you?
As a fellow colleague of ours says, I'll come back to you on that one. That's always a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I think too, you never try to know something that you don't know.
How do you prepare? Would you do you write down notes, or what do you find?
It depends on what it's for. If it's something that I am confident in, I might just do a little run through or have some notes. But yeah, sometimes, like you say, if I've got a PowerPoint, I don't read through it. You might sort of just have some pinpoints or look up at a specific dot point. But generally it should feel fluid enough. And if it doesn't, that's okay. But maybe you need to change the content or what's in it to help you deliver it better as well.
Yeah. And with training for yourself, how do you, because I know in document control there's always stuff to learn and there's always multiple things to jump into and think, hey, I want to do these training sessions and that sort of thing. Where do you feel training sits with yourself in your current position? Do you continuously looking for things to jump on? Are you...
I have to be
things?
doing it.
Yeah.
If I need to learn something new, or we have a client says, hey, we use this system and I don't know it very well, I need to get in there and get around and click things and break stuff and do things, because otherwise it's too, I need to know how to interact with it. If you're just reading something, that's kind of not enough. What about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm always like, yep, no worries, I can do that. Give me a week and I'll come back to you and I'll go and learn what I need to learn and come back. I'd like to pull things together, but I'm certainly jump on board with anything that's coming my way. And it's interesting too. Everybody would, I would say most people would sit there and think their day-to-day can be, up and down or boring or mundane, or, you're always wanting to jump on different things and learn different things. Yeah. And I think for our team, we're a quite diverse group. We have lots of different areas of profession. We have a lot of document controllers. We have project managers, schedulers. What else would you say?
Contracts
admin.
Quality, commissioning.
Yep. Commissioning.
Field crew.
Yeah. So we're always I guess, open to new training, and if there's a position to move up into, then we offer a lot of training amongst ourselves and can get together and look at different job dynamics and different, things that might help you along your current position, I guess. Like I've done, delved into the world of contracts admin a bit more with my position for document control. So, yeah, I think as long as you're learning, there's so much more of a dynamic to the workday.
And I think too, in our earlier podcast about what is a doc controller, we are very central to a lot of those roles. Sometimes as a document controller, you're almost directly reporting to the project manager, depending on size of project, or the director, again, depending on size. You might be looking after the quality manager's work, or liaising with that person, commissioning manager, field crew, so you're kind of connected to all those areas. And yeah, absolutely, we've got team members that occasionally have either learnt more or studied even to become more into those spaces. So there's definitely areas where as a document controller you can train or learn more to become different dynamics. When I look at my experience, I've been around construction since I could just about walk with our engineering family, but generally I never would have thought that there was different paths involved in this kind of role. And and delivering training with people in those different areas, as well as working with them, definitely exposes that kind of opportunity as well. So
now, because you've gone through document manager, and obviously you're doing a lot of project management and gone down to that sector, so you would have had to have had a lot of training on board in different areas to evolve. But it brings back so much more dynamic to your role as well.
Definitely.
I think too with we can specifically cover document control and database management and new people coming on board, but then also there's different areas where I don't know if a lot of client side or different companies can realize that we can actually delve in as well. So we do workflow training for our area, and that is a big one. That's about a 2-hour training session. So, but it's also very fundamental, I think, to the review team. We've moved from reviews being literally tried to be managed through spreadsheets, which can be a bit of a nightmare. And then now the workflows, we've got a lot of people pushed towards using workflows through the data management system.
And, I think too, when you're working with different groups of people, training different groups of people, it can be difficult, and you might not get the process outcome up front of what is best practice. But I think generally over time people see the benefits of having things according to the better practice as you move along the journey. And too, when you're kind of got different systems and different clients, contractors, it can be different to meet everybody's expectations as well. So you definitely need to sort of work with the dynamics of people as well as processes. So and sometimes you do need to adjust that training rollout to suit that process. And I know, we have, as you say, chopped up smaller training sessions to sort of specifically target workflows, RFI management, things like that, design change management processes, which is a huge one when you're in a big project. And, not every project might need that, but some of them definitely do.
So what are some of the ways that you find people learn? Because there's a few key ones, key learning processes.
So generally people would fit into 4 categories: audible, kinesthetic, visual, and reading. Some might cross over a couple of those as well.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I think I do too. Mostly I'm kinesthetic. And
what's kinesthetic?
It's the doing.
Right.
Yeah, you've got to be doing it too.
Yeah.
I guess take it in. And I'm like that with anything.
Yeah. I feel I'm visual. Even if I'm on a Zoom or a Teams call, I'm like someone, instead of them going, okay, point your mouse here, I'm like, can you show me? And then I can follow. And I'm definitely a visual learner for sure.
And sometimes I can tell immediately what that person might.
Read the room. Yeah. Well, it's good to know. And I guess with our expertise is we do training on this sort of thing as a company, so we can generally factor that into the training that we're going to deliver. Then we can mix a bit of everything together.
And the thing is too, it's the biggest part of any of it is engagement. And if you don't have the crowd engaged, then that can be really challenging, especially if it's a big group. And you've lost the crowd and you're trying to deliver training. That's why long sessions are just, especially this day and age with our shorter human attention span, because of social media and, whatnot, it can get really tricky if you've not kept people engaged.
See, I find that to be a difficult sort of thing to note when you're delivering an online training or a Zoom training, right? Because generally people won't have their cameras on and their microphones will be on mute. And I'm probably someone that's like, like, where's the little laugh, or, like it makes you feel confident. And I think a lot of that, people might be laughing behind camera or it might not be funny, I don't know. But I sort of try to keep it a little bit lighthearted and put in a little bit of humour and, like I don't just want it to be a monotone, boring training session. Yeah. But I think, I have to give myself my own confidence because you don't get that bounce back when people are sitting there hiding behind their cameras and the mute button. So you could be one of these people that goes, right, everyone cameras on, microphones on.
And I mean, you've been in some of our team meetings and I'm definitely a pro camera on person. And I think you're right, because otherwise you are just sitting there looking at a screen, talking to 7 squares with everybody's initials staring at you. And it doesn't feel very engaged. And, it's not about checking up on people to make sure that they're actually sitting listening to you.
In their pajamas.
It's about, you can be in your pajamas. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. But, it's about definitely opening up that conversation. And I know there are people that do miss that one-on-one. And for those people, they may want to put their cameras on or whatever, but feel like they can't because no one else does. Yeah. That they would really love to see everybody's smiling face.
It's an interesting world, isn't it? Like, where we'll be in 10 years' time.
Yes, imagine. And on that note.
Yes, so thank you very much for joining us for our podcast today on training and how to deliver training and how we deliver training as a company at Core Project Advisory. And we'll catch you on our next podcast. Thanks.